workability of nuclear energy and the disadvantages of the nuclear energy. So my first point is going to be that nuclear energy is not that efficient. First, it costs too much to build and even dispose of. According to an article by Greenpeace USA, every nuclear plant under construction in the U.S. is well behind schedule and at least $1 billion over budget. Also, according to another article from Nuclear Energy Institute, that the approximate cost of fuel for one reload, replacing 1/3 of the core, is about $40 million. Also, it's not that efficient because it takes too long to build a nuclear power plant. According to an article from Conserve Energy Future, nuclear power plants normally take 5 to 10 years to construct, as there are several legal formalities to be completed, and mostly it is opposed by the people who live nearby. So my next point is going to be on how nuclear energy is too powerful to the point that it becomes hazardous. First, it is really hard to dispose of it. If not disposed properly, it could leak and cause many problems. According to an article from EcoSpark, the current method of dealing with nuclear waste is to put it in a canister and submerge it in a pond constructed for this purpose, or to contain it in a concrete cylinder. After 40 or 50 years, when its radioactivity begins to decay, the waste is buried underground. So the radioactivity of the nuclear energy stays for 40 and 50 years, and it has to be submerged underground to be for it to be safe. My next point is going to be on how nuclear energy is non-renewable. According to an article from World Nuclear Association, generally renewable relates to harnessing energy from natural forces, which are renewed by natural processes. Although it shares many attributes with technologies harnessing these natural forces, nuclear power is usually characterized separately from renewables. So it has very limited supply. Once the nuclear energy is gone, it's gone. You can't get it back because it's non-renewable. So, and according to an article from Conserve Energy Future, nuclear energy uses uranium, which is a scarce resource and is not found in many countries. Most of the countries rely on other countries for the constant supply of this fuel. The supply will be available as long as it is there. Once all extracted, nuclear plants will not be of any use. For the disadvantages of nuclear energy, it has radioactive waste. The isotopes in it have very long half-lives that can last for millions of years. It makes it hard to dispose of, and even if disposed properly, there could still be the risk of it leaking. It damages the environment. Could contaminate the water if it leaks. According to an article from EcoSpark, nuclear waste has a radioactive half-life of 250,000 years, which means that it remains extremely dangerous until the end of that period, posing grave risks to humans and the environment if it's exposed. Another disadvantage is human error. Humans make mistakes all the time, and there's no room for error while using nuclear energy because the simplest mistake is deadly. One example is the Chernobyl incident. It was a combination of operational errors and lack of coordination and awareness from the plant staff. This caused a sudden uncontrollable explosion that destroyed the reactor. According to an article, after the accident, about 4,000 cases of childhood thyroid cancer were diagnosed. Most of these are thought due to the iodine-131 released during the accident. It is also believed that up to 4,000 additional persons who were in the highest radiation exposure group may get cancer. Another example of human error is the 3 Mile Island. This was caused by a misinterpretation of equipment functioning by plant operators and assessing the reactor's condition. According to NRC, it only released a small offset releases of radioactivity, but that was just by a simple mistake, and they were lucky that it was a minor mistake. But if anything worse could have happened, it would have been deadly. Also, transporting it and mining it is dangerous. According to an article from EcoSpark, the mining process results in both the deliberate routine release and accidental spill of contaminated water, leading to the potential poisoning of nearby waterways and threatening the local environment and human residents. So, to summarize, nuclear energy is not as efficient as the affirmative side say it is, and it's too powerful to the point it gets way too hazardous, and it is non-renewable, and also there are many disadvantages that are harmful to the environment and humans. Thank you.